Everyone pretends to be tough until they meet an actual tough person. And this video is about exactly that, as I talk about badass cops who gave suspects a taste of their own medicine. So, from an officer tearing down a window with his bare hands to a dumb suspect getting rocked with a magnificent strike, get ready for another action-packed video as we look at the dumbest suspects who messed with the wrong cop. Number 1. Superhuman strength. From what I know, this couple was stopped for not wearing seatbelts, and after failing to comply with a lawful order for more than half an hour, this cop decided to take matters into his own hands. No, literally. He took matters into his own hands and tore down the car's windows, looking almost as if he had superhuman strength. Oh, and the couple was found guilty of obstruction and concealing ID. It was reported that the police asked the driver to show his driver's license almost 14 times, but he didn't show it. And that's when things escalated. So next time a cop asks for your ID, try not to be a jerk and just listen to them. Number 2, when being smart goes wrong. What was this guy even thinking? I mean, how is an officer supposed to arrest you when you have the doors locked and the window rolled up the entire way? And on top of that, he has his hands raised above his head while he's inside the vehicle. It's pretty obvious this guy was being smart, but he also shouldn't act surprised after this cop vaporizes his window using a baton. And what's funny is, as soon as this guy realizes he's messed with the wrong cop, he literally starts screaming like a little baby. Well, that's what you get for trying to resist arrest, tough guy. Number 3. A pit maneuver in oncoming traffic. This is perhaps one of the most anxiety-inducing moments in this entire video. The footage is from a police vehicle's dash cam, and in the distance, you can see a reckless driver speeding in the opposite lane while 2 police cars are in pursuit. It's a high-risk situation because a single mistake could put a lot of people in danger. But if this guy thought the cops wouldn't pit him because he was driving head-on into traffic, he'd better think again. The police car pulls off a tactical move, causing the reckless driver to spiral before he's arrested by the officers. Plus, what's even more messed up is that this isn't the first time this Dumbo has been booked for driving into oncoming traffic. But yeah, it's super satisfying how he's whining and crying about his knees hurting during the arrest, like he didn't just put hundreds of people's lives in danger. Number 4. Captain America reporting for duty. While the rest of the cops tried to figure out a way to get over the fence, this absolute tank of a man ran through the fence, overtook 3 other officers, hopped several more fences, got tased, and still managed to make the arrest. Now that's what I call a real-life Captain America. You can see in his body cam footage how he overcomes several obstacles to catch up to this guy. And just a few seconds before the arrest, one of his partners accidentally tases him, but he still doesn't go down and finishes the job. I'd feel super safe on the streets if I knew this guy was on the force. Number 5. What not listening to the cops gets you in. A lot of people think this guy was fatally tasered, but if you ask me, every time the cops ordered him to roll over and stop resisting arrest, he tried to get up. And the fact that he was high on PCP and shattered a glass door to break into a break, it's clear this guy was dangerous. Plus, I'm no expert, but maybe if he didn't illegally break into a building, he wouldn't have gotten tased so much. But this is exactly what happens when you mess with the wrong cop, because they don't take being high on drugs as an excuse. Number 6. An instant attitude check. Now, this is how you should behave after getting tased to prevent getting tased over and over again. This woman was on school premises attacking a secretary when the cops showed up and dragged her away. It seems like she's going to comply at first, but she suddenly snaps and squares up, yelling at the cop to shoot her. The cop tries to keep things civil, but since this woman is clearly not in a listening mood, he pulls off a sneaky taser shot right in the gut to send this woman packing on the ground. She immediately complies and wraps her arms around her back, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I call an instant attitude check.
Kill me!
Stop! Stop!
Shoot me! I've been shot before! I've been shot before!
Stop! Stop!
You stop! I want you to live.
Get down!
Number 7. Undercover cop saves the day. This next clip is from Brazil, and it shows a dumb suspect who's outside a school, trying to rob some innocent parents and teachers. Now, straight off the bat, This is a dangerous situation because there are kids involved. But what this fool doesn't know is that he's picked the wrong spot. An undercover cop standing right beside him pulls out a weapon from her purse and fires at this thief from point-blank range. The robber falls flat on the road, and the woman quickly disarms and restrains him as backup arrives. The fact that this cop was so calm and composed, even though there were kids involved, shows just how professional she is. And as for the lousy criminal, well, he messed with the wrong cop. Number 8. An excellent pit move. This suspect probably thought the cops would give up on the chase, but what he didn't know is, unless you're in a supercar or something, there's no way the cops are going to give up on you. The suspect is zooming and zigzagging through traffic, but this cop is skilled, and letting this idiot escape is not a part of his plan. When the cop finally gets a clear patch, he performs a super effective pit move on the car, causing it to crash into side rails. With the airbag gone off, this suspect has no options left and complies without any trouble whatsoever as he's shoved into the police car.
Yeah, just north of 33, go down to 300 place.
Number 9. He actually saved this idiot. It was supposed to be a routine stop, but quickly turned into a scuffle, with several cops needed to apprehend this drugged-out criminal. Even after being tased, this guy didn't go down and continued trying to confront the officer. The cop eventually had to pull out his baton and smack this guy's legs several times, but even then, he still wouldn't give up. Believe it or not, this guy even survived a 2 versus 1 situation, with 2 officers trying to subdue him. But just when the officer had had enough, backup arrived and actually saved this man from getting shot. Unlike all the officers, this bad boy cop ran into this criminal and body slammed him on the ground, helping everyone else put him in cuffs. So yeah, if it wasn't for this cop, it's possible this dumb criminal might have gotten shot. Number 10. She's lucky they were blanks. This woman probably had a death wish or something. She was faking a gun under a piece of cloth and pointing it at the officers as if she had a real weapon. And the cops tried their best not to escalate the situation. But this woman just wouldn't stop messing around. When she got a bit too close to the cops, they had to open fire. And luckily, the gun was loaded with blanks, so the max she'd wake up to was a couple of bruises. But how dumb do you have to be to point a fake gun at a cop with a real gun? Does she realize just how badly this could have ended? But yeah, this clip is different, because while the cop was ready to take serious measures if she posed too much of a threat, he still diffused the situation by firing blanks. Number 11. Absolute cowboy. This is another intense clip, and if it hadn't been for this officer's quick thinking, things could have ended up getting really ugly. The stone-cold cop first confronts this suspect in an apartment complex, and when he refuses to comply and keeps one of his hands concealed, the officer knows this guy is carrying a weapon. As soon as the perp takes out the handgun, the officer quickly starts to distance himself from him, repeatedly telling him not to shoot. The perp warns the officer to drop his gun, but all it takes is 1 second for the entire situation to change. As soon as the man attempts to grab the officer's gun, he quickly pulls it out and takes an instant shot at the dumb suspect, just like a cowboy. Quick thinking saved this cop's life. Number 12. Wild shootout in the middle of a highway. This female driver places her order at the drive-thru, but when she pulls up to the window, she quickly takes out a weapon and asks the staff to give her all the money. The workers comply, but what was supposed to be a simple robbery ended up turning into a dangerous chase, with gunshots being fired by both parties. After catching up to the suspect on the highway, police later discover that the woman is now in the passenger seat as a male perp is driving the vehicle. The dumb criminal starts shooting at the cops, to which they return fire and land multiple shots on target. The suspect then drives the car in the opposite lane, but out of nowhere loses control of the vehicle and goes crashing in the dirt. The man eventually turns himself in after a long negotiation with SWAT. Number 13. Wannabe John Wick. The guy in the video is being interrogated for a potential kidnapping at a nearby school, and you gotta trust me when I tell you, he's probably the dumbest suspect you'll see in this entire video. He literally tries to attack a police officer in a precinct. I mean, what is your plan after all this? Anyway, this suspect spots a pen on the table and decides to use it as a weapon against a cop standing behind him. He makes his move, but the attempt is quickly soiled by the bad at SS cop, who then pushes him down to the ground. He's quickly arrested, and I gotta say, the way that cop handled the entire situation was mad impressive. He didn't even flinch and defused the assault attempt in a matter of seconds. Number 14. Just drop the stick, man. This guy was assaulting people in the streets with a metal stick, but when the cops arrived at the scene, he quickly switched up. One of the officers had a shotgun loaded with beanbag rounds, and trust me when I tell you, he did not hold back and emptied several rounds at the perp. The cop continues telling him to drop the stick, but this dude just won't comply, so what does that mean? Well, more beanbag rounds. Maybe if he just listens and drops the stick, it'll make things easier for him. But nope, he leads several cops on a foot chase across the city. When they finally have him cornered, one of the cops commands him to drop the weapon. But he's still not listening. And even though this is a video about suspects who messed with the wrong cops, this officer deserves all the credit. He orders his guys not to shoot any lethal weapons while the cop with the beanbag round fires once again. He finally gets the guy to put down the weapon, and that's the sign of an experienced policeman. Number 15. Priceless reaction. After trying to attack people on the streets with a knife, this man tried to hide out in a coffee shop, but unfortunately for him, an entire squad of policemen traced him down. He can be seen sitting in the coffee shop using a plastic chair as a shield from all the rubber bullets about to be shot at him. But when that first rubber bullet hits him, his reaction is just priceless. That's when this dude finds out that the police aren't messing around. They hit him a couple of more rounds before finally bringing in the big boy. The other shotgun fires several rounds of rubber bullets all at once, and that almost makes him soil his pants. It's an easy job after that since he's clearly scared, and the officers have no trouble getting him in cuffs. Number 16. Beautiful teamwork. This right here is a prime example of why you shouldn't mess with trained professionals. The guy is all fun and games as he walks towards the officer with a knife in his hand, and despite many warnings, he just won't drop the knife. The cop is ultimately forced to shoot some rubber rounds at him, and once the dumb suspect is distracted, he orders the other officer to unleash the beast. The K9 comes running in hot and easily takes down the perp, and honestly speaking, this whole encounter was just so well performed and cleaned. Unfortunately for Pat, that's what happens when you take on the wrong cop. Number 17. Habitual offender learns his lesson the hard way. Before telling you everything about this incident, let's just take a moment to appreciate that beautiful execution of the spike strip. That police officer knew exactly what he was doing, but this dumb suspect still didn't slow down and give himself up to the law. The police stop him multiple times, but he speeds off every single time. And when they finally have him trapped in a busy intersection, he does the worst thing ever and tries to speed off again.
Show me your hands! Show me your hands! No. Hey, show me your hands!
The cops are left with no other option but to open fire to stop this dangerous suspect before he hurts anyone else. But yeah, while it might not have been a good day for this perp, the police definitely made sure this guy didn't cause any harm. Number 18. Wrong way to answer a door. Take notes, everyone. This is how you should never answer the door when a cop knocks. I don't know what this guy was thinking, but he thought it'd be a bright idea to threaten a police officer, that too, with a gun pointed right at his head. And to be honest, the officer wasn't able to react that quickly, but thankfully he did it quick enough and managed to injure the man to neutralize the situation. And even though this dude got the worst of it, this video just goes to show you just how dangerous domestic abuse calls can be. Number 19. Don't try to outsmart the cops. This guy had it coming, honestly. After failing to take directions from a police officer during a traffic stop, he thought it'd be a great idea to just speed off. But the cop wasn't about to let him off the hook so easily and chased the suspect before eventually catching up to him and tasing him. The way this guy hit the ground is just epic. That's what I call instant karma. And plus, I love how the cop didn't even bother having a chat because that's exactly what you get when you try to run away from the cops. Number 20. He kind of asked for it. The guy in the red is actually a sex offender, and the word is he's been causing a lot of trouble around the neighbor. When the cops show up and ask him to surrender, for some odd reason, he gets all pumped and gets ready for a scrap. The officer quickly gets in position, pulls out his taser, and only does what the man asks him to. The guy can be heard repeatedly shouting at the cop to shoot him, and well, the cop fires his taser at him, sending him shriveling to the ground. But instead of complying, this idiot gets up and runs away, leading the cops to a busy intersection. It doesn't take officers too long to rush this guy and cuff him. Number 21. It was in his favor. This dumb suspect can be seen running away from the cops and discarding his weapon after being involved in a shootout with the cops. He tries to lose them, but the police have eyes, and eventually they catch up to this perp, cornering him in the middle of a busy street. And the way this guy is behaving, you can tell this isn't the first time he's been confronted by the people in blue. He's getting all giddy and pumped for a fistfight with one of the cops, but that's cut short after some shocks from a taser. And honestly, if you ask me, I think getting tased was in his favor, because if he decided to turn this into a fistfight, it was a 3 versus 1 situation, and it definitely wouldn't have ended well for this bad boy. But yeah, try messing with a cop who doesn't have time to waste and get tased. I also love how all these dumb suspects start crying about how it hurts when they're being cuffed. Maybe they should have thought of that before pulling off something so stupid. Number 22. Just sign the ticket. This old woman was driving a busted truck, and when a cop stopped her and handed her an $80 ticket, the woman went berserk and refused to sign it. I mean, come on, lady, there's no way you can get out of this. Driving around in an accidental vehicle gets you a ticket. It's as simple as that, and maybe if she had signed the ticket, it wouldn't have led to all this. When another cop shows up on the scene, he doesn't have any time to waste and immediately tells the woman she's under arrest. But boy, is she delusional. The cop literally has to drag her out of the vehicle, and even then, she's resisting and just not complying. Well, you all know what that means, right? Time to bring out Mr. Sparky. The woman is tasered and doesn't even waste a second following orders after. It must suck to be held accountable after so many years, right? Number 23. Nice hideout spot, though. Thomas thought he was being clever after hiding in a library, but what he didn't know is that an officer was on his tail the entire time. As soon as the cop approaches the wanted criminal and asks for ID, he tries to take off, with the entire scene looking like a Hollywood film as the cop chases him through the library. But just as this dumb suspect is about to get away, the cop literally pulls out an epic move, spearheading Thomas mid-air to take him down. Talk about sending in the right man for the job. This officer was willing to risk it all to get this criminal back behind bars. Number 24. This incident before GTA 6. Out of all the dumb suspects we've seen so far in this video, the award for number 1 goes to this guy. After breaking into an airport, this guy attempted to hijack a $30 million jet, and I'm not even sure he knows how to fly it. But he got the worst of it since the police used pretty much everything in their arsenal to get this dude out. They pepper sprayed him, shot at him with blanks, and even rushed inside the airplane and beat him up with a baton before bringing him out. Number 25. High-speed chase turns into a huge mess. These cops could not have done a better job at handling this dangerous suspect. The first officer brilliantly punctures the vehicle's tires with a perfect spike strip throw. And when this suspect shows no sign of slowing down, the police whip out the box maneuver and stop the car in the middle of the highway. He initially refuses to open the window. Can you guess why? He's chugging down an entire bottle of whiskey. Weird flex, but okay. The police then get to work, breaking the car window with a baton, while another cop bangs on the back window to distract the dog inside. When they finally get in, this guy just won't give up and refuses to be dragged out of the car. One cop circles around and tases him through a small opening in the driving side window. He's ultimately taken out, thrown on the asphalt, and arrested for endangering 100s of lives. Oh, and you'll be pleased to know that the dog never got hurt. Also, what a way to turn simple disorderly conduct into multiple felonies. Way to go, dude. you're about to get handed some serious jail time. Anyway, that's it for today's exciting video, folks. So what do you think? Which suspect did you think was the dumbest in this entire video? And do you have any stories about a dumb suspect messing with the wrong cop? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more interesting content in the future.